Yo, what's up, guys? We're back with another episode, and this week last weekend technically, I was in Florida for the 20-point stats event. We know Whoopi was wild and then coming at us saying that we're white supremacists and stuff.
Wild.
But anyways, we had Dr. Mark Sherwood on, as we do every Friday, and he was talking about, as we're going to have every Friday, he was talking about the Tekla Sundberg thing that came out.
Is it Tekla?
Tekla. I don't know what his name is.
Tekla.
The point is he was a psychopath shooting an apartment building.
Psycho.
Almost killing a woman and 2 black children. So Black Lives Do Matter. Anyways. So it was a really good, but it's good, like a 3-way interview because I was out of town.
It was a good interview.
It was a good interview, guys.
Check out the interview.
If you don't check it out, you don't even like Jesus.
What?
Yeah. Proven fact.
You actually can't say that. Anyways, catch it in 3, 2, 1. Hey, Dr. Mark Sherwood, how you doing?
What's up?
Titus, Isaac, you guys are awesome. It's good to see you all.
Good to see you,
man. It's been a little bit. It was like 2 weeks since we last had this conversation, since we last talked, or
yeah, I know. I got to see you guys like do some mask-free, social distancing, violating hugs in the state of Virginia. It was good.
Yes, it's so good to see you. And we're telling everybody that you need to train the whole country and how to be in good shape and everything. Just dieting and fitness, both of them. Because I know you and your wife are just like super model fitness for freaks, amazing people, like amazing shape. This is wild. I'm legit. I'm just like, wow. And then I'm over here eating like the most unhealthy things, and I'm like, wow, what am I doing? I need to be like Dr. Mark.
What the heck are you doing, man? Come on.
It's like I knew you were jacked, like I knew it. I saw you last time and I knew it. And then seeing you again in Virginia, I was just like, what?
Yeah,
like he's bigger than I thought. Our friend came, as he was saying, our friend came with us and he was just like, that's Dr. Mark Sherwood. He did not expect. He's like, he's a doctor? What? It was
doctors not supposed to be big like that. They're supposed to
we get that all the time. It's crazy. We'll go out here on the road and we're in our own circles, people know who we are, and they'll say something like, hey, you're the first doctors we ever seen that looked like you were in shape. And I'm like, I'm shaking my head like, is that a good thing or bad?
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is, that like so many like doctors, physicians, physical personal trainers, and all these people that are supposed to be in the health industry, and actually that's something we can get into actually about the health industry, because I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on that, is how are we, like, the physical personal trainers always out of shape? Why are the people that are teaching these dieting things never actually clearly not eating the proper diet? And it's just like, what are your thoughts on that? That's so weird.
Well, I think a couple things to really keep in mind, actually a series of things, just thought processes for us to begin to understand what's really happening. And there's reason for it, like in the education of all these different things, you don't have to have requirements to go through the training. In other words, there's no prerequisite for being healthy to go through any sort of thing that's healthy. Now, having said that, being a doctor does not equate to being physically fit or healthy. Being a trainer does not equate to being healthy. Being a pastor does not equate to even being a Christian. How about that one? Right? And so it's true, and being a politician does not equate to even knowing the Constitution. And that's how far we've gotten away from like the world's from normal, and people like my wife and I, and, we're friends. You guys have seen us personally.
Yeah.
People look at us like we're kind of freaks or something. I'm like, I don't feel like a freak. I feel like a normal human being just trying to do what's right,
Yeah.
It's interesting how what was once expected to be is now like odd or strict. It's baffling to me.
It's so backwards. Right. Exactly. And you're saying that, and it just makes me think of like police officers and how like most of them just aren't physically fit. They're pretty big dudes. Like the ones that would come into our high school and just like, train us on, police safety and whatnot. They'd be so like fat, just like fat people. And I'm like, I don't trust you like to protect me in any scenario.
It's the donuts for me.
Funny you say that, because, a part of my career in policing in my last, my 24-year career, about the last 8 years, I was stationed in the police academy. We had our own academy training, and I did all the stuff, right? And it was interesting how that police officers come into work, that career, and they have, a pretty good idea of, physical, emotional, spiritual health. And then by the time they get to 10 years, I mean, they are miserably unhealthy in all areas. And it's because like they eat horribly and no one models that out. The late night hours, the high stress, and many of them, by the time they're 10 years on, are on, I call it the trifecta of medications: sleep meds, actually 4, sleep meds, diabetic meds, blood pressure meds, and even antidepressants. Because it's a very challenging job. And then, interestingly enough, the life expectancy, generally speaking, for the average 20-year retired male police officer is 66 years of age. So, they don't live very long. And I used to tell them, man, that and I believe this today, my business card is my physical appearance, health, my physical body, not that it's all about life, but and I never had any trouble on the streets, dealing with people that were even acting like fools, because I went up there and I was nice to people. I wasn't going to treat people miserable. I don't care how bad a person they were. They don't deserve that from me anyway. And so I would treat them with respect and dignity. And they broke the law. The consequences are theirs. I didn't break the law. I'm just doing my job to go home.
Right.
And I never had any trouble with anybody. But they would size me up. They would look me up and down, and then, what do I want to do? Do I want to try this guy or not? And invariably they did. And I'm grateful because I didn't want to, get in that type of situation with anyone.
Right.
Right.
But you mentioned a very key thing, though, that I'll just wrap up that answer, is that whatever we represent and whatever we say we do on the inside, or even what our physical business card says, look, if you look like a soup sandwich and it's contrary to your business card or your business, I just turn them off. I can't listen to anybody, even on the tours. If you do that, I'm like, oh, I don't care what you have to say, because I can't help but think you don't even believe what you're saying.
They can't.
That's a fair point.
Right. There's no way. You're not living the life that you're trying to preach to people and teach them. It's just absolutely insane.
It's fake. It comes off fake.
100%. And when it comes to like policing and whatnot, it makes me think, instead of defund the police, we need to fund the police and get better police officers, better training. better mental health, like, taking care of them, because it is a stressful job, like you're saying. That makes me, I just want to ask you this. What are your thoughts on that, the Tekle Sundberg incident?
Ooh, yeah.
That just recently happened.
Said it chopped out one more time.
The Tekle Sundberg shooting. Have you heard about that one?
Tell me about it in a nutshell, and I'll give you some time.
So basically, Titus, did you want to say it?
Well, yeah. In Minneapolis, there was this guy named Tekle Sundberg who was shooting a gun through apartments in the complex he was in. There was a mother who had 2 kids who actually happened to be black. And for 6 hours, he was like being not held up, like he was like, communicating with the police. The police were trying to talk to him and get him to like, surrender or whatever. And eventually they ended up killing him because he was being such a danger to the community in the area. And so the mother, like, there's a lot of body cam footage that came out, I think yesterday, showing the mother like screaming and like trying, like, my boys are in here. And like the police came and they got the boys out. Well, crazy enough, this guy is shooting up apartments and terrifying, being a menace to the area. He had a BLM protesting on his behalf, getting mad at the cops for killing him, taking him out when he was being such a danger to the people. And so BLM freaked out, and there was a specific person who told the mother, because she was outside like screaming, he was trying to kill me. He was trying to kill my kids. I have 2 black kids in there. Would you have cared if they would have died? Would you guys be doing the same thing if they would have died? And she was just speaking truth and facts. But it's just the fact that we're here. I think Isaac was asking you that because he wants to know, as a police officer in a situation like that, like, what would you do? How would you respond? And what do you think they did the right thing in that?
I have an interesting perspective because in part of my 24 years in law enforcement, I was on the SWAT team. So I understand tactics, training, standard protocols. And interestingly enough, over the last probably month, I bet you, Titus, Isaac, I've done 40 to 50 national interviews breaking down tactics, including the Uvalde shooting, film of the hallway, all that. Yeah. I broke it down piece by piece, frame by frame. In this situation, we need to understand that there is no race that matters. There's one race. It's called the human race. I think we need to really get that into our mind. It's irrelevant. When I'm out there on the street as a police officer, I don't give a rip what skin color somebody is. Now, having said that, if there's a crime that occurred and a description is going out, and you know, you do use skin color as part of the descriptors, you might say, Caucasian male, 6 foot tall, wearing a pink hat and green leotards. You know, you say that, and so if you see someone matching that description, well, you're going to stop them. So just sort of the way we describe people by the way we look, but it doesn't have to be a racial oriented issue, right? Now, so in this case, if you have a person who has actively committed assault with a deadly weapon or shooting with intent to kill, that would be the two crimes we're talking about, you would respond to the scene. Now, if the person was barricaded in a situation, right, you're going to do two things. You're going to form an outer perimeter, which is going to be to secure maybe the apartment complex. And you're going to begin to vacate people from inside the outer perimeter where a person can maybe shoot through a wall. So maybe vacate the adjacent apartment buildings, right? Something like that. And then you're going to have an inner perimeter to sort of secure the inside of that area, inside the outer perimeter where the suspect is located, holed up, armed and barricaded. And then you're going to make an assessment at that point. Is the person armed and barricaded with hostages? Is the person armed and barricaded without hostages? It would be two different responses. If the person's armed and barricaded without hostages, you negotiate all day. You're not worried about, you don't make entry. You let them sit in there and just kind of suffer if you want to. Yeah. And eventually you hope they come out. Now, if it got to the point where they wouldn't, of course, you may sort of shoot gas in there, maybe some tear gas or some pepper spray of some sort to maybe get them to come out the door and be compliant and just turn themselves in. You're still trying to protect the life of that person. Very important. Do they need to stand trial for the crimes they would likely be charged with? Yes. Now, on the other hand, if a person is armed and barricaded and they have hostages in there, okay, there's kind of a two-prong approach there. If they're inside of a place and there is shots fired inside of a place where there's hostages, you have no choice at that point. As a SWAT team, you will absolutely approach that door, you'll breach that door, probably throw in something like a flash sound diversionary device called a flashbang, which would blind you and incapacitate you audibly as well. So, and you would make entry and probably end up engaging and or killing that suspect, right? Because you don't know if he shot somebody or not.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if he's armed and barricaded with hostages, you will try to negotiate a surrender. You'll try to negotiate a release of hostages to create a single armed and barricaded situation without any hostages, getting back to scenario number one. Now, having said that, if at that case and point in time, there's a less time you're going to wait because now you have to think about the people in there as well. And in that case, at some point in time, you're going to have to make a surprise entry. And many times, you know, you can, and we've done this before, you can get around adjacent apartments, you can bore a hole in the wall ceiling, and you can put in little tiny microphones or cameras that are on wires, and you can actually see in there and hear in there. That helps you a little bit to gain some intelligence, but you're trying to keep them in dialogue.
Yeah.
But at some point, and it's not days, it's not 24 hours, at some point in that scenario, you have to go in there, and he's already indicated by the execution of those shots that he's willing to be disregarding of life in general, and he's already a danger. And at that point in time, you have to go ahead and make entry, and well, you know, the rest we have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Because as soon as you're a threat to somebody else, it's like people will say, and then I'm sure you have thoughts on this. People will say when, oh, you're not pro-life if you're gonna just kill these criminal black men or criminal men in general. It's like, no, that is pro-life. It's pro-life to stop someone who's trying to take lives.
Yeah, and as a police officer, you know, and I used again train them for years. You don't go out there to kill somebody. That's the stupidest thing in the world to even think about. You don't want to, but you know that as the first line of chaos in society, you know, you have been empowered constitutionally, lawfully, to have the power to take life in order to protect life. So the taking of life is to really protect life. And the last thing you want to do is have to kill somebody. Now, I know what that's like, you know, and it's just it's a hard thing that most people don't understand. And I had really good success actually in my area, in my time, generating good training on this scenario, this very sticky, hot, politicized issue. And what I would do is, and this would be my approach with BLM in that case, which, by the way, I don't trust the leadership of that organization at all, because it's not about Americanism. It's about Marxism, right?
Yeah.
And so with that said, I would invite personally, it would be me if I were in charge of if I were a sheriff or a police chief or even in charge of a state police, I would invite the BLM leadership to a location, and I would invite some of my team into a location, and we would create scenarios where we have blanks, blank guns and blank situations. And I've done this before. And you put them in those scenarios, partnered up with the law enforcement officer in this mock scenario, and they have to make decisions on whether to fire that simulated weapon or not. And when I did that, it was shocking, Titus, Isaac, the mistakes that were made, the errors that were made. And we would come back and we would critically analyze that with love, because nobody died. It was a scenario.
Yeah.
But every time, without exception, every single time, every one of them that courageously, and I use that word intentionally, took us up on that offer, it changed the perception, and it built a relationship that was unbreakable. It was good, because it's like, oh, now I know it's easier to be a Monday morning quarterback than to be in the game. No dub, no brainer, right? And so it's a good thing. That's the way we should be approaching things right now.
It's very refreshing to hear that there are courses like this with officers in training, because we don't know. Like, we just assume, or a lot of people assume, that you just become a cop, you're given a gun, you're given a badge, and you just have all this authority, and that's just, we, to some extent, there is training, but like specific training to those, scenarios it's awesome to hear.
Well, it's out there now. I'm not saying it's mainstream, but this is the ideas that we did, did past tense. I saw the positive benefits of them. And frankly, this is what I think should be occurring more and more and more with community leader involvement. I'm talking pastors. I'm talking school leaders and administrators. I'm talking politicians. You hear me, you clowns that wear those suits and act like you think you know what you're doing, you egotistical people.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, it's important for people to get involved.
Yeah,
that's so true.
The sad thing about this Tekle instance is that the people that went to just march on the streets, all they see, unfortunately, is color. They don't see past that at this point. Like you were saying, like it doesn't matter if you're black or white, brown, whatever. If you committed a crime, you need to, you're gonna be punished. The justice will prevail. And if it was a white guy, that did the exact same thing, people would call him a psychopath. That's the reality. It's unfortunate to hear, but yeah, like I said, I'm so glad this, like you're saying, this needs to be mainstream. This idea of training, these practices, with especially because these schools shootings just seem to be happening more and more. And if we were more prepared, go ahead.
And there's two things that I think people need to really get with this, and I want people to understand what kind of the root problem is. Right? Yeah. I think number one root problem is we've been taught societally and in different groups to hate and show disrespect towards authority in general, right?
Yep.
And that's not cool. Even in the patriot movement, I tell people all the time, you be peaceful, but you be firm. You be peaceful, but you be passionate. Don't break the law unless you have to defend life, liberty, or, et cetera. Number two, so that's happened. And number two, when I was a patrol officer on the streets, part of my time was as a foot patrol officer walking a beat in high crime areas. And what I saw was, and this is very important for everybody here, I saw a degradation in fatherhood, manhood. And when I saw a degradation in fatherhood and manhood, a lot of the young men specifically had no one to look up to. They had no one to look up to as a role model, except maybe a local drug dealer that had a nice car and a bunch of money. And, I would look at them with many conversations with them, and I would truly I would be able to empathize and sympathize with them, because I'd think, wow, and it was interesting in that dynamic that we just continue to let it happen, and I was thinking, we blew it a long time ago, and now we're just beginning to see the fruits of that lack of leadership in our government, in our homes, in our communities, and really in our whole country.
And that is why you need to vote for Mark Sherwood for governor. Come on.
One of the many reasons, but guys, I'm not. Sadly, I have to say, I have to bow out because Gabe has to film. He's a YouTuber too. He has stuff he has to do before our first speaker. He's been texting me like, "Are you almost done? Are you almost done?" So sorry, Gabe. This is the new governor of Oklahoma right here.
I'm telling all my stuff to vote for you as well.
Dr. Mark Sherwood.
But Doctor. Well, yeah. One more time, or just for the first time, please tell the people how they can support you in any way, because we want you to be the next governor of Oklahoma.
And we need
you. Everything connects at Sherwood.tv. Super easy. Sherwood.tv. Everything connects through there, and just connect right there. And if people want to work with us, in the medical realm and anywhere, emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever, you can go Sherwood.tv, put a / and you can put Smith Bros. SMHBROS. Come on.
There you go. Sir. Thank you so much for
thank you. We're gonna have you again next week, so we're gonna keep doing this. It's gonna be a weekly thing. So everybody, stay tuned. More Dr. Mark Sherwood. I know he has so much good stuff that he was saying today. You guys are like, well, I want to hear more, but you'll get it next week. I promise. All right.
Yes. Thank you again. We'll see you next week.
All right. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.
You as well.
Many people know about our clinic, but most don't realize we help patients around the globe reach their health goals. Deep down, you know there's got to be a way to get there, but you don't know where to start. Our starter plan is the first step. You'll get everything you need to experience a health transformation in 120 days.
You'll start by resetting your health with a 2-week detox. Then you'll implement our proven anti-inflammatory food plan. On top of this, you'll get a 120-day supply of essential supplements, omega-3, and vitamin DK, as well as our homeopathic drops to accelerate your health goals.
Go to Sherwood.tv now and use the promo code on your screen to receive this exclusive offer and save a total of $80.
This is your path to more energy and better health.